Welcome everyone to this week's Fish Friday video. Today we are on Fish Friday number 18 and we have a good one for you today, guys. I think you're really going to enjoy this. Not many people have heard of this. However, this is probably the origins of one of the great myths of the sea. And I am talking about the giant oarfish. How many people have heard of this? Probably not many. The giant oarfish, or the scientific name of this is Regalicus glesni. Woo! Regalicus glesni. Regalicus glesni. Wow. Word tongue twister. It is part of the family Regalicidae. Because there are no C's in Latin. So these are the oarfish family. There's not much of this. There's not many. There are 3 known species of this family, and one of them has only been seen 7 times. So that tells you how secretive these things are. Another common name for this is the ribbon fish. You can kind of see why. It is also called King of the Herrings. We'll get into that in a little bit. As you can see, these are very ribbon-like. Very, very ribbon-like. They are extremely narrow laterally. That means they're very thin. And there's a couple of videos out there of... One such video is the show Jeremy Wade, River Monsters. He had an episode about the oarfish. And at one point, you can see the camera is looking at it dead on, and you almost can't see it. It is so thin. Incredibly, incredibly thin. As you can see, especially in this picture, the dorsal fin, which is the fin on the back of a fish, is just super long. It runs the entire length of its body. It does have the other fins that you associate with, well, some of the other fins. It has tiny little stubby pectoral fins. Tiny stubby little fins. And these are actually pelvic fins right here. And these are where some people think they got its name from. Because if you squint your eyes, you can imagine that these are a boat oar. You know, long and skinny, then get really wide right at the end. So, let's go really quick before we go into it. Here's another picture of it, and that's how it's kind of swimming. It's swimming by undulating its dorsal fin. That's one way to do it. It can also do this. This is another awesome freaking picture. I don't know if it's Photoshop, but if it's real, this is just incredible. But something to know about fins. The little things coming through fins, when you can imagine it, the little structures in the fin, those are called fin rays. And sometimes fin rays are hard and sometimes they're soft. This fish, all of its fin rays are soft, which allows it to be super flexible. And at the head, this is actually part of its fin still, the back fin. It's just they have been really lengthened, and they make this enormous crest. This very distinctive red color. You know, awesome looking fish. And you can see it even here. You can see how long those bottom fins get, because here are the ends of the pelvic fins. So this one is much smaller, but you can still get the idea. And you can see the fins. The crest on top of the head right there. Let's see. These actually are scaleless. They have no scales, but they are covered in tubercles. And if you remember, we had an episode a couple of weeks ago about a fish that had scales, but they developed nuptial tubercles. Or maybe this was a different... I'm sorry if I haven't talked about it. Tubercles are just little bumps that arise on a fish's body. Think like a real small horn. Or just a little bitty bump. But so this fish has no scales, but it is covered in those tubercles. This fish's claim to fame is probably the fact that this is the world's longest bony fish. Um, just extremely long. The longest that was ever recorded was 8 meters, which is about 26 feet. There are reports of it getting 11 meters, 36 feet. That's your kind of like secondhand reports. And then, of course, there are records going back in, historic times where they say these fish get up to 50, 60 feet long, like up to 50 feet long. Commonly, most of the time, you're going to see these fish at about the 3 meters or about the 10-foot range. That's about how long they are, which is an extremely long fish, don't get me wrong. Now, some people would argue, well, what about whale shark? What about other sharks? That. Remember, I said world's longest bony fish. Sharks don't have bones. Other fish that are longer don't have bones. This is the world's longest bony fish. These are also relatively heavy. The max weight recorded is 270 pounds or 270 kilograms, which is about 600 pounds. That's the absolute max weight. So that's going to be your probably longest, your 25 to 30 foot range. Now, remember when I said earlier when we were talking about the common name? One of the common names of this fish is the king of the herrings. And for those of you who don't know, herrings, sea herrings, ocean herrings, have red fins. It's kind of similar to this. And scientists think that that common name may have come from the crown. You can imagine this being a crown on top of a fish. But this fish has been known for a long time. I think it was first described in 1770, and in the 1800s, people saw a little bit more of them, but they think that the name came from fishermen in the late 1800s, seeing them near herring schools, which these would be close by for other reasons. And the fishermen saying, well, they're guiding them. You think about it, a giant, regal-looking fish hanging around a bunch of smaller fish. You think, well, it's the big dog. It's the leader. So they kind of thought that they were guiding those herring schools around, which isn't the case, but is there. These are oceanodromus, which means that they spend their entire life in the ocean. They do not even come close to land. Unless, and this is where most people have seen these, if you look up giant oarfish on your Google or Bing and you look up pictures, most of the time, sadly, you're going to see pictures like this. Well, actually, this is a really good picture, but you're going to see them here where they have died and they have washed ashore. Crazy, insane, but you can see how long these things are. But sadly, this is where you're most commonly going to see them. But going back to what I was saying, these are found worldwide. Everywhere in the world except in the Arctic. They're everywhere. They're so incredibly widespread. They're not they're not that common, but they are found worldwide. These are a deep fish, predominantly, but that doesn't necessarily mean it so much. They just kind of can go anywhere from 4 feet of water to much deeper. In fact, most scientists think they spend most of their time at about the 3,000 foot mark, or about 915 meters. So around 900 meters is where they say this fish is probably spending most of its time, or at least at that depth, maybe from 9 to 700 meters. These fish do feed on krill, squid, and small fish, kind of what they can ever get their mouth around. Their feeding strategy is pretty much I'm going to swim with mouth open, and whatever goes in, I eat. That's kind of an oarfish's strategy. It's kind of just like something went in. Food. I mean, there's not much to it. These aren't very well studied. Something to note though, and you can kind of tell in this picture, this fish is actually swimming vertically. These don't have to just swim straight. They can do the undulation ribbon, or they can move their dorsal fin to swim straight, but they can also swim vertically, both this direction and upside down. But you're gonna think about it, if your strategy for food is to just leave your mouth open and catch anything, you're gonna be swimming with your head up most of the time, with your mouth open for anything that's falling. So they probably spend more time swimming vertically. And they can do both of those swimming strategies because these fish don't have a swim bladder. And I've talked about swim bladder a couple of times before. And a swim bladder, remember, is a gas bladder inside the body of a fish that helps it maintain neutral buoyancy. So it helps you stay straight, helps you stay where you want to be in the water column without expending energy. Well, these don't have a swim bladder, so they got to expend the energy of maintaining their body in the water column. But since you can go up and down so easily and you're so thin, you're very hydrodynamic, they're not expending that much energy, but it allows them to swim vertically without any extra effort than it would be to swim straight. So, little interesting tidbit. But this, I don't know if, I think this might be photoshopped, but if it's not Dotted Yeti out there, you are a genius with the camera. This is just awesome. But alright guys, thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you again. If I don't, please be safe. Have a great day. If you could, I'd really appreciate it if you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Please guys, leave me a comment. I would really like to do the fish that you on YouTube would like me to see. These people on Twitch, they keep giving me their suggestions, and I'm going to keep doing them until I get a YouTube comment. But thank you guys so much again. Take care of yourselves, take care of your loved ones, and peace.